Hey guys, Shiro here. Yup, totally, Shiro. Tingyun is a character who was once wasted potential due to a twist that, in retrospect, wasn't really done well. The Tingyun we met during the Laofu Trailblaze mission was merely a disguise for Lord Ravager Fentilia, a Heliobus who, possibly because of their emanator status, was strong enough to take a form based off Tingyun, which was perfect enough for her to sneak onto the ship undetected. However, as it was revealed in patch 2.5, the real Tingyun appears to be alive and well. In spite of us not truly meeting Tingyun during our first trip to the Laofu, the character stories of her 4-star variant do give us insights into who she really was. It makes sense they do this, as they obviously didn't want to give away it was Centillia in disguise 2 patches before the big reveal. So, from all of this, what did we learn about the real Tingyun through her impostor?
Speaking of imposters, the evil has been defeated. Anyway, go subscribe to Manny. He's a cool guy and fellow lore head for HSR. I'm super glad we got to do a dumb bit like this. Tingyun is the Ami-caster of the Whistling Flames Guild, a merchant group affiliated under the Skyfaring Commission. In the readable, the Lofu Skyfaring Commission Guilds list, it's explained that Tingyun's guild possesses the fastest and safest biotransport vessels in the galaxy, importing and exporting products for refinement. Tingyun is arguably the best merchant on the Lofu. Her character details mention how it's thanks to her the Xianzhou trade fairs are known as well as they are throughout the cosmos. If that's not enough, her second character story ends with the following quote. As a result, a dazzling new star of trade dawned aboard the Xianzhou Lofu. With her warm personality and talented skills, this foxing girl successfully completed trade missions to 16 different planets and re-signed another bilateral agreement with the IPC. The famous Xianzhou trade bonanza, the Grand Fair, also developed into a famous fiesta under her advocacy. The Whistling Flames is just one of Tingyun's multiple avenues of doing business. One of the first times we ever see Tingyun was in the final closed beta trailer, where she was selling pictures of Jingyuan, and knowing his fans, those pictures would sell like hotcakes. She's often described as silver-tongued, speaking and presenting herself amicably around her benefactors to ensure her success in persuading them to make a deal or a purchase. Heck, her voice line about business outright states her personal philosophy for her line of work.
Peace is the best for business. It's best to work with persuadable people. For those who are less persuadable, cooling them down with a fan works wonders.
This actually ties into another integral aspect of Tingyun, and that is her emphasis on keeping things civil. Her second character story mostly focuses on how she differs from most Foxians, and that she is much more pacifistic. She's never been good at combat and prefers to keep her fur fluffy and soft. When other Foxians playfully pull on her fur, she tries to politely ask them to stop instead of joining in and getting back at them. Her third character story goes into further detail about this. You know that fan she uses in-game as her weapon? Well, there's a reason I put air quotes around the word weapon in that sentence, because that fan is a symbol of her pacifism. She doesn't like to carry around any kind of weapon while doing business, seeing it as dishonoring any potential friendships and simply being bad business. That's why she chose to carry around an Ingenium 6-ribbed reticulated fan made by the Artisanship Commission. With how pacifistic she is, it's no wonder she's a Harmony unit in-game as a 4-star. It's also noteworthy how her playstyle has shifted in her 5-star Nihility form. While she still has the fan and fulfills a similar support role, her ultimate going from support-based to offensive indicates how she doesn't follow her pacifistic beliefs as strongly as before. That near-death experience broke her as much as Fantilia broke her neck. Look, if Hoyoverse can beat this dead horse, so can I, alright? But her civil temperament is what results in her internal struggle. She's set to become the next Helm Master of the Skyfaring Commission after Yukong. However, due to not being much of any good at combat, she's doubtful she'll live up to the role. Her lack of battle skills frustrated her parents, who served as pilots for the commission. However, Tingyun's nonviolent nature is exactly why Yukong chose her to be her successor. Times are changing. Xianzhou is changing. One day, this giant ship will grow utterly exhausted of a sky full of blood and war. When that time comes, the Skyfaring Commission will be your stage. Tingyun wasn't sure if Yukong's words to her were completely serious or not, rather telling of her self-doubt. Still, she wrote down Yukong's words in a letter that she keeps locked in the back of her drawer in her store. Tingyun vowed to show her own type of strength, that being her mastery as a saleswoman. Tingyun's bond with Yukong actually ties into my next topic, the meaning behind her name. Tingyun means lingering clouds. She shares a name with a Chinese poem written by Tao Yuanming. Allow me to read a short part of the poem for you. Wouldn't it be the same with my friends? I am missing you the most. My wishes have not come to be. This regret and remorse out of my control. At first, I wondered how this poem could connect to Tingyun, but then I had an epiphany. Tingyun is the one being missed. In the context of Star Rail, the poem makes way more sense if you see it as being written from Yukong's point of view, thinking of Tingyun. And man, putting it that way just makes me sad, I won't lie. While on the topic of names, Phantilia's name in the Chinese text is Huan Long, with Huan being spelled with the character for illusion and Long meaning hazy. A name meaning hazy illusion is certainly a fitting one for someone who disguised herself in order to get on the Xianzhou and sow discord from within. As for the name Phantilia, it's likely a play on the word phantom. She's a heliobus after all, which are commonly mistaken for ghosts in HSR's universe. Okay, I think that about covers all we knew about Tingyun prior to her return. So, let's get into Fugue, shall we? When Himiko and Welt went to drop off fossils for Ron Mei, they happened to discover Tingyun survived her encounter with Phantilia. The express crew agreed to help Fugue get back home, but she first asks to go to Penacony to reframe her mindset before returning, as Himiko put it in her conversation with Screwlum. It's interesting how they build up to Fugue's new appearance. The express crew happened to come across Tingyun's psyche being split apart into this Fox Girl extravaganza.
Hot chick heaven.
Not only was this set up for the reveal of 1 week's whole existence, but also how fractured our merchant's state of mind is, since there are so many versions of her that represent a ton of different sides of her personality. Once Fugue is reconstructed, we get answers as to how she's alive. The reason she wasn't instantly killed by Lord Ravager was because Phantilia needed time to claim everything she could from Tingyun to construct her disguise. That time was all Tingyun needed to be found by a certain traveling merchant who brought her to Miss Ron Mei so she could be saved. She's in a similar predicament as our Trailblazer, who's harboring a Stellaron within. However, the Trailblazer's body has been outright mentioned to be capable of harboring a Stellaron with no issue. Tingyun's body isn't built with that same resistance to the forces of destruction, and thus, she's left with the yellow scars we see on her body. But her body wasn't the only part of her damaged by Phantilia. Ron Mei explains in Fugue's third character story that Phantilia's destruction of you has never ceased. Although you have temporarily overcome the power of destruction in your body, her torment of your will has only just begun. We see this torment of her will in the quest A Misfortune of Survivors. She's stuck in a limbo state where the destruction takes form as antimatter legion enemies. Ron Mei warns Fugue that fighting back against the destruction within her is futile, as it'd be a never-ending battle that would corrode her mind until she was left as a husk of who she once was. If she wants to live, she has to choose to coexist with the roots of destruction that have scarred her body, living a paradoxical existence.
Survival or destruction is no longer a choice for you. They both now grow along the same path.
Fugue's story of rebirth and learning to live with her scars can be read as a metaphor to real-life trauma survivors, whether that trauma be physical, mental, or anything in between. There's no easy way to cure someone's trauma. You can certainly recover from that trauma, but it will never completely go away. Those scars, whether they're physical or metaphysical, will stick with you for the rest of your life. But rejecting or repressing that pain will only cause you more torment in the long run. To go forward, you have to accept that it'll forever be a part of you, but it doesn't need to define you. You're no less of a person for it. Something that can help a trauma survivor cope with their situation is to speak with fellow survivors. That's why her reunion with Yukong is so important, not only because of their mother-daughter-like bond, but because Yukong's experiences with death has given her a similar view of the value of life that Tingyun now holds. Both Foxians think highly of the lives of mortals and thus wish to liberate themselves from their status as pawns for the eons. It's the conversation with Yukong that convinces Fugue that she has to play an important role in this upcoming battle with the gods. When the Tingyuns come back together as Fugue, we briefly see a fiery peony. Peonies can represent a whole ton of things, so it was hard to narrow down which one to go with, but I think the most apt piece of peony symbolism is it representing wealth, fitting of her occupation as a merchant. Fugue is also visually associated with lotuses. Not only does the flower show up in her splash art, but her multiple tails are meant to be in a similar shape to a lotus. Lotuses are symbols for purity, which ties into her wanting our memories with the Tingyun we met on Xianzhou to not be tainted by Phantalia. On top of that, lotuses often represent rebirth and enlightenment, traits that Fugue very much demonstrates upon her reintroduction to the game. This plays into her new name. Dissociative fugue is a rare psychiatric phenomena where a person develops amnesia or loss of identity due to aimless or unexpected wandering from their usual environment. This type of amnesia is reversible, as people who have suffered from it were able to recall lost memories upon returning to their home environment or reuniting with people from their past. Something we see when Tingyun reunites with Yukong and the two reminisce together. During their time with dissociative fugue, the person can develop a whole new sense of identity, which is emblematic of Fugue's choice to not return home in order to involve herself with the Godslayer protocol. Fugue's splash art also features her reaching out to her reflection in the water. That reflection takes the appearance of her 4-star form. People were quick to point out the similarity between this and Ron May's signature light cone. Obviously, we've gone over how the two are connected in terms of the story, but is there anything deeper than that? I think the most logical answer is how the light cone describes Ron May's visage in the mirror seems untouched by time. But we can clearly see Tingyun has changed from her reflection. Fugue has undergone not just a physical transformation, but a shift in identity as well. Meanwhile, Ron May has never gone through the same drastic change, remaining steadfast in who she is and her research of the fundamentals of life. Fugue's story is about learning to live with the darkest parts of your lifetime. She shows that it's possible to navigate through life even after horrific experiences. I'm glad Tingyun got to return and be used to communicate such a message, and I'm excited to see what part she'll play in the larger narrative of Aegis R. Thank you for watching this video. This is one part of a series of analysis videos on the Xianzhou's cast of characters. If you want to see me analyze another character from the Xianzhou, please subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future uploads. Also, like this video to let me know if I did a good job. As a smaller content creator on the platform, engaging with my videos really, truly helps me out. Thank you once again for watching, have a great rest of your day, and until we meet again, take care.